Hi, I'm Greg Watson from Watson Real Estate. Today, 3 tips about how to increase the rate of return on your investment properties. The first one is rather obvious, but it does surprise me when I'm talking to people almost on a daily basis who don't do it, and that's rent increases. It's a misconception that if you have good tenants in place and you put the rent up, those tenants will move. We put up scores of rents regularly, and it's very rare that we'd have anything resembling a complaint or somebody that actually moves house. So let's look at this a bit more in depth. If you put rent up by $20 a week, you're $1,000 a year better off. If you put the rent up the next year by another 10, then you're $1,500 better off. So the amount accumulates. I met somebody the other day who hadn't put their rent up in 10 years because they were happy with the people that were there. I worked out they'd missed out on between $25,000 and $30,000 of income. The easiest way to change your rate of return is to up the rent, and that also helps you with your outgoings. Tip number 2 about getting a better rate of return from your rental property is to make the most out of the property that you've got by either placing more dwellings or subdividing and putting another dwelling on the same property. I'll cover this more in another session that's coming up soon, but let's talk about it just briefly. If you buy a property and then you're able to purchase another and move it onto, say, the back of a section, and you've got 2 properties on one title, well, then suddenly the rent in the front house will go down slightly, but you'll have a significant rent from the back property. The cost of doing this work, and even if you subdivide it, is relatively small compared to the return that you'll get. So rather than necessarily buying another investment property in another location, look to see how you can maximise the cash flow with the property that you've got. Contact me for more information on how to do that. I can point you in the right direction, but your rate of return would skyrocket. The third tip about how to increase the rate of return from your rental properties is just simply to have good planning around the management of the tenancies that you've got. It's a good idea to put fixed term tenancies in place so that you always know when the property is due to come to an end. This means you can contact the tenant up to 90 days before they move out under the current legislation, and in that window of opportunity between 90 days and 21 days for the end of the tenancy, everyone can decide if the tenants want to stay on. The great thing about this is that if the tenants don't want to stay on, you've got up to 3 months to find new people, which means as a marketing strategy, you can start with a higher rent, higher than market rent, and then reduce down if you get closer to the time. Not only that, through good management of sensible tenancies, if the tenant wants to stay on, pop them into another fixed term and you've got 0 vacancy. So that's the vacancies that can really knock that rate of return down. So this method of having fixed terms coming available at the busiest time of year will either mean the tenants will stay, or if you get new tenants, they may likely pay more. Thanks for watching.